As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Sleeping with the Numbers podcast. Been a little while, been about 3 weeks since I made an episode. Got a bit sick, did a little traveling. The traveling causes sickness. So, apologize for not being here, giving you those updates. We did still post the bets we made on the website, sleepingwiththenumbers.com/bets. And over that time, I've been out, and maybe that's the key thing. Maybe I just gotta be out, and we hit some profit here. So since the time I've been out, been profitable. Week 12, 5.24 units up. Week 13, 4.69 units up. Week 14, a bit less, still made it. I got bailed out by the model, funny enough. Usually it's the other way around, but profited 1.96 units. I had a bad run last week with the over-unders and spreads, but the model bailed me out with some good money line bets here. Hitting some plus odds on Buffalo, Denver, New England, Chicago, Giants. Those are some nice wins. Nice to see the model, get back on track here. The model's still in the positives here, profiting 12.31 units so far, 7.37% return on investment. So yeah, doing decent enough. Happy with the model here. Win rate, as expected, still low, 47.305%. Who cares? We're making money. That's really what matters here. Said it basically every time I've done the show. We're here for profit. We're not here for win rate. Myself, 17.58% ROI. And this is including last night's game. Last night's game being if you want to call it a game, the blowout where the Raiders came in and absolutely destroyed the Chargers. Staley finally getting fired, the GM getting fired. Yeah, you saw that, the firings coming pretty easily. You knew, maybe they'll wait till the end of the season. After this game, you can't wait. You let those guys go. They're not here to win games. I don't know what the problem is. With the amount of talent that the Chargers have, I understand they were completely banged up this week, but with the amount of talent they have, there's no excuse for them to have the record they do. I've been a pretty big fan of the Chargers here the past few years, and I've been vocal about that, and it just has not worked out. I bet if we go and look at every bet I've made on the Chargers, I'm probably way down because I just expected too much from them that the coaching staff was not able to give me. So we'll see what happens there going forward next year. Is Austin Eckler still there? I don't know. Is Keenan Allen still there? Probably. He's getting older. Herbert will come back off the surgery, and hopefully they reset and they get back into it because they looked primed to be a dangerous team in the AFC West for a long time. And every year counts. Every year, you're wasting time being a poor team like this. So I think they took too long in doing this firing. But hey, they did it. I guess that's what matters. And we're looking forward to the future. For last night's game, if you checked out our bets, the model picked the Chargers to win. Obviously, that didn't go very well. I ended up hedging that bet because with Allen, once Allen was rolled out, I'm like, all right, I'll bet on the Raiders here, which I'm usually not a fan of doing, but I did it, took the -3 as well. However, I did take the under, which was a big slap to the face. That under did not happen, obviously. They put up 80-some points. So, overall, profit on that game. Not as much as we would like, but still. I'm sorry. No, we're down. Okay, I lied. We ended up down 0.39 units because of that. Damn model. Pick Chargers. Whatever. All good. We have a lot of games coming up this week, and let's start talking about them. We'll go into the first matchup here, Minnesota versus Cincinnati. Minnesota is going to be a 3-point dog. Cincinnati 3-point home favorites. Over-under set at 40.5. Man, this is an interesting one. I do lean a bit towards the under, mostly because of the question marks around this team. Obviously, that didn't work out very well for me for last night's game, but I do lean towards the under with this matchup. I have it at under 40. I guess the line raised a little bit, so that'll be nice to get it in at the 40.5. Not that much of a difference, but it does make a difference. Nick Mullins looking to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings. Ty Chandler might be the starting running back for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson should be back. How well he plays, I have no idea. That's going to be a huge question mark going into this game. And I know a lot of you people in fantasy playoffs have that question. Am I playing Justin Jefferson? And honestly, I don't think you have a choice. I think you have to play him for better or worse. If you don't start him and he goes off on your bench and you lose your playoff matchup, that's going to hurt way worse than a loss itself with him in your lineup. So think about the mental state of this wild game we play of fantasy football. It's always interesting to see what happens. And Browning coming in here, he's been on fire. I had a friend, so I needed a quarterback. I had Justin Herbert last week, and obviously he wasn't going to play. And so I needed to pick up a quarterback, and I went to pick up Browning. I'm like, no one else needs a quarterback. I can put like a $4 bid or something like that. My buddy put in $50 because he hasn't spent a single dollar of fab the whole season, and he's just blowing it. So, like, he didn't need to do that to get Jake Browning, but he did it. And I texted him, like, yo, bro, what the fuck? And then I end up having to play, oh my gosh, who did I play? I don't even know. It was like I had to pick up someone else, and it was not exciting, but I actually think I still came out with a win. Oh my God, I played Gardner. Yeah, so Gardner put up 15.1 points. Luckily, I played the Stroud manager and was able to get a win there. But Browning, that same week, goes and puts up, what did he score in our league? In our league, he put up 24.7. So, and my friend lost. So, like, it was just not, it was an interesting thing to see all around. But anyways, Jake Browning, I think since he gets the win in this matchup, it should be decently close, but if I had to take a pick, I'm still taking the Bengals to cover the spread, and I do still lean towards that under. Right, these are Saturday games. I forgot about that. We have 3 Saturday games, and that the Minnesota-Cincinnati game is one of them. That's the first one at 1 p.m. Eastern. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers against Indianapolis Colts. Trubisky going to be starting again for the Steelers. That feels awful as a Steelers fan. He's just not there to win it. It's straight up embarrassing. Watching him play, watching him chuck the ball 10 yards above our receiver's head when we need all the memes for, like, we need 2 yards and him chucking it down the field to Deontay are hilarious. They make me feel a little bit better, but watching Trubisky play for my beloved Steelers is not fun. It hurts the soul a good bit, but things need to change in Pittsburgh. We got rid of Canada, obviously. I think there's a lot more that needs to happen. We need to see if Kenny's the guy. And right now, things aren't looking great. So, with that said, I can see the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, pulling a win out of their ass here. This might be the first time where I don't bet on them. I think defense, we obviously have a massive advantage. The Colts are going to come out all cylinders and try to hit that over like they have every week. Pretty much, they've hit the under 4 times this season. So this is funny enough. I usually don't take the over for Steelers games, but in this matchup, I think it can happen. with the majority of it being on the Colts side. So I think the Colts are a good pick here, both to win and to cover the 1.5 spread. So should also mention Colts are the home favorites here by 1.5. So that one hurts. Realizing I didn't say the models picks for the last game. And I had some time off. Give me a little bit of time. So model picked Bengals to win. Bengals will get the money line bet as well at minus 164, giving them a 26.9% edge for this game. Models with me taking the Colts, giving them a 57% chance of winning and a 2.51% edge at minus 120. So bets on both those games by the model. Denver, Detroit. This is a wild one. Denver can absolutely win this game. Detroit embarrassed themselves last week. Broncos, they have such an easy schedule remaining here. You got Detroit's the hardest game. Detroit's the hardest game here. But Detroit has shown that they're vulnerable. Then they got New England. Then they got the Chargers, who they beat 24-7. Then they get the Raiders, which I understand they just slapped the Chargers around, but I still don't think they're a very good team. I just think the Chargers really defeated themselves. It was like they didn't want to be there. So Broncos can win this game. They are 4.5-point dogs. Over-under at 48. Give me that under. I'll take the under on that pretty easily. The Lions' defense has looked like garbage. The Lions' offense has looked confused. It's like Jared Goff is... I don't know. I don't know what his problem is. It feels like he's very hit and miss. So I have no idea what to bet on this game. The only thing I feel decently confident in is taking the under 48 points. But I can see both the Broncos winning. I can see the Lions winning. One would hope and expect, and the probability should be on the Lions to win. But the Broncos are playing different. You know, they had a fantastic win streak against some tough teams, against the Chiefs, against the Bills. You know, they're hot right now. Still not a fan of Sean Payton or Russell Wilson, so I'm rooting for them to lose, but I would not be surprised if they pull a win out of this matchup. The model is expecting Denver to win 77.97% win probability and a massive edge of 43.485% at plus 190 for the Broncos. So that's the only bet I'm going to be taking other than the under, because I can be persuaded on both sides of this. So I'll roll with what the model's given me. 5-8 Bears take on the 8-5 Browns. That sounds so weird. Led by Joe Flacco. Browns are 3-point home favorites. Over under set at 38 points. With Flacco slinging it the way he's doing, the Bears are going to have to keep up. Browns defense has been a little banged up, but they're still a good defense. So I feel pretty okay with the over in this matchup. We'll see if I take the bet there, but if I had to make a pick right now, it is leaning towards the over. I think if Flacco's going to keep slinging the ball, they're just going to put up points. It's really weird to say, but that's what I feel is going to happen here. The model will be... I got to scroll down so far. The model has a 90% win chance for the Bears. That's pretty wild. And a 48.362% edge for the Bears at plus 140. So that's an interesting bet by the model. You know, like I said, it looks on historical statistics. And I thought, you know, both teams played decently enough for that to be a little closer. But I guess playing against the Lions and beating them the way they did in the numbers, the model sees that as more impactful than the Browns. Well, the Browns, I guess they're 2-1 in the last 3. So that's what the model is taking into consideration, the stats they put up in those games. So That's interesting. But model going with the Bears here. I personally lean the other side. I'm taking Browns win and cover. I find it very difficult to bet on the Bears. Fields probably wants to win as much as possible. Why wouldn't he, right? Because it sounds like right now Bears are leaning towards a top end pick with their own pick, and I believe they have Carolina's pick as well. So I don't think Fields is there next year. I believe that during the first season of this show, I wanted to take a bet that Fields doesn't get a second contract, and here we are. Something about these Ohio State quarterbacks. Stroud proven me wrong, but Stroud also didn't have the touch of Meyer. Yeah, Meyer. Urban Meyer. Jesus. To taint him. So what happens to Fields? I have no idea. A friend asked me a tough question the other day. Would I rather have Fields or Kenny? And I don't know. That's such a horrible question. For the Steelers, I think we have to stick with Kenny. He's cheaper. Fields is going to want more money than what Kenny's rookie contract is going to need us to pay for him. I think we spend money elsewhere, and we'll get more value out of it that way. Atlanta, Carolina, Falcons 6-7 going to the 1-12 Panthers. Who did the Panthers beat? I don't even remember. Houston. Interesting. Okay, that's a wild one. So Falcons 3-point away favorites. Over under at 33.5 points. You know, we talked about the statistics when it comes to these low over-unders. They usually hit the under. And with Carolina basically not able to score, you know, let's see what they put up in their last few games. 6, 18, 10, 10, 13, 13, 13, 21. Yeah. So the under, I think, is still a good pick here. I know it's easy to look at these lines and you're like, oh, that's easily achievable. In the past, if we look at the historic data, the under seems to be the move by a little bit of an edge, you know, like a 5%, 10% edge there. So that's where I am leaning here. Falcons win, Falcons to cover. Falcons -3 is weird. I don't know. It almost feels a little bit like a trap. But that doesn't feel like a big enough spread. So whatever. We'll take advantage of it. The model. Falcons to win, 88.7% win probability, and 28.7% edge at -150 for the Falcons. That's where the model is betting. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, $6-7 take on the 6-7 Packers. Over under set at 42.5. Packers 3.5 point home favorites. I don't want to bet on this game at all because I don't have a single clue what happens here. Packers are a confusing team. The Bucs are a confusing team. The Packers come out, beat Detroit, beat the Chiefs, and lose to the Giants. Like, that's the weirdest thing ever. And then the Bucs lose to the Colts, and then beat the Panthers, as everyone should, and beat the Falcons. So, and they always end up like, they find themselves really far behind in the game and then just come back and win. So does that happen again? I don't know. Evans had an off game. I just do not want to touch this one at all. So we'll let the model decide what it wants to do here. And the model would like to... Is there a bet? Yes. Bet on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 16% edge at +160. And also has the Bucs to win, 54.437% win probability. Houston, we don't know quite yet if Stroud is going to be coming back. The line seems to indicate he won't be because they're 4-point dogs against the Tennessee Titans. So I would imagine if Stroud's back, it's a concussion. He should be able to just slot right back in, do his thing, and this line will change. So trending towards him being out, it sounds like Nico Collins, similar deal, so it's going to be Noah Brown. And he went like 0 for 5 in catches last week, so that's not great. Titans looking pretty good. They got a great win with Will Levis and DeAndre Hopkins. Henry getting some points as well. Beating the Dolphins, which I don't think many people saw coming. Now, you can make the argument that the Dolphins kind of beat themselves once Hill was out. They just were not playing how they wanted to play because their main dude was gone. Their MVP was gone. So we'll see what happens here. Keep an eye on this one. Right now, I think it's worth taking Houston to cover and taking the under 37 points, that is. If something crazy happens and Stroud is set to play right now, seems like a low probability. But taking that +4, I think has a good chance as it is right now. And then if Stroud plays, that's fantastic because I would imagine the line flips to Houston being favored. So keep that in mind when you go to bet on this game. For the model taking Tennessee to win, 73.77% win probability, 7.67% edge at -195. So model really taking into account that abysmal performance by Houston last week. Divisional matchup, 5-8 Jets take on the 9-4 Dolphins. It's tough with Tyreek. I expect him to play. He's shooting for 2,000 yards, and he wants it, of course. Now, is that the smart play? I don't know, because they're playoff bound. I think it would be better for the team if Hill doesn't play, just to let him heal up, because they're going to need him in the playoffs. Will that happen? I don't know. What's more important? Trying to go for a record in yardage, or having a team that can make it the whole way to the Super Bowl? Right? It probably depends on who you ask. But either way, Miami favored here by 9.5 points. I honestly think I take the Jets to cover that. Over under at 37. We saw just how piss poor the Dolphins play without Tyreek. Jets defense is fantastic. The Miami defense is great as well, and obviously you get the Jets quarterback situation, you don't expect much from them. But Jets beat the hell out of Houston. Was it a fluke? Very possible. So I do lean towards the under here, the under 37. I do like the Jets plus 9.5. That's interesting there. For the model will be taking Miami to win, giving them an 83% win probability. That's fair. They probably do get the win here. They also have an edge to bet on the money line, 1.904% edge at -450, but that is less than -200, so we're not taking that bet. Not enough return. Giants feeling good, 5-8, going to take on the 6-7 New Orleans Saints. Saints are 5.5 point home favorites, over under of 39. This is another game I want no part of, because I don't know what the hell happens here. Tommy DeVito is fun, I guess. You can call it that. They're winning. They're on a 3-game win streak, but it's also the Commanders, the Patriots. Green Bay was a good win. Got to give them that one. Now they're going to start facing some real competition. They're in their last weeks, they have the Eagles twice, Saints this week, and the Rams, who look like they're getting it together. So don't feel great for the Giants, but at the same time, they've been pulling shit out of their ass, and I want to stay away. I don't know one way or another, and if I'm not confident enough one way or the other, I'm not putting my money there. So we'll just let the model decide what it's going to do for me. And what it is going to do, it says Saints to win, 66% win probability, a slight edge for the Giants on the money line, 1.304% at plus 210. So whatever, we'll let the model take its risk here. I'll bet with it. But personally, I don't condone it. That's a very, very tough bet to make because I have no idea what happens in this game. Because Derek Carr sucks. Kansas City, after getting absolutely embarrassed, which another thing to talk about. The point of this show isn't to do like the social commentary shit. I'll make remarks here and there, obviously, but Chiefs embarrass themselves. Mahomes is a little baby. Like they're just little babies, you know. They've been getting the New England Patriot treatment where calls go their way for so long that when one doesn't, they just break down and don't know how to handle it. So I'm actively rooting against the Chiefs. I'm done with them. Those bandwagon fans can enjoy that team. They're melting down. Obviously, they're still going to be winners. Obviously, that Andy Reid's a great coach. Mahomes is a good quarterback. You can say all that stuff. That's all absolutely true. But they just look like little babies, and that's not a team I want to root for. So Kansas City going to New England, 8.5 point favorites. Over under at 37, which is wild. I do think I lean towards the over with that. I know we don't expect the Patriots to score much. They put up 21 against Pittsburgh. 0-7-6 since then. Before then. So it's tough to see them putting up points. Kansas City defense is pretty solid. But I do think the Chiefs come out here and just sling. They have something to prove. We're not babies. Kadarius Toney definitely lined up off sides, but you should never call that because we're Kansas City. We're the Chiefs. We're Mahomes. We're the Taylor Swift team. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, to quote Elon Musk. But yeah. So, anyways, I'm done with that. Model actually has New England to win at 59%, so that's interesting there. And then obviously they would have an edge of 37.549% at plus 350 for New England. So I don't want to root for either one of these teams, but I'm rooting for the Patriots. I want to see Mahomes cry again. That's funny. Washington Rams, highest over-under of the week at 50.5. Give me that under. I will gladly take that under. 4-9 Commanders take on the 6-7 Rams. Rams 6.5 point home favorites. That makes pretty good sense to me. I don't think I would take that spread. Anyways, I expect the Rams to win it here. They've looked good. Commanders don't look good. And the points, that's a very high over-under for these teams. So the only thing I'm personally betting here, other than what the model picks, is the under 50.5 points. The model, 99.706% win probability for the Rams. And there is a 26% edge, so a pretty decent-sized edge on the Rams at minus 270. However, if you've been following the show, you know we don't take anything less than minus 200, so staying away from that one. Another divisional matchup, San Francisco 10-3 taking on the 3-10 Cardinals. I just need one more win from the damn Cardinals to hit my team win bet for the season. So they play San Francisco, no. Chicago, they could do it. Eagles, no. And then Seattle. So honestly, I think the best chances is obviously Chicago. And then I would say against Seattle, divisional matchup week 18. Both teams likely not really playing for much, so we'll see what happens there. Maybe the Seahawks have a playoff spot. They're 6-7, but so is like everyone else, so it's going to be down to the wire there. Yikes! I just need one more win. Come on. San Francisco favored by 12.5 points. Over/under set at 48. I can see both for this. The 48, it's decently high. San Francisco is a good defense, a good offense, obviously. So it can go both ways. Their defense can shut out the Cardinals, but at the same time, their offense can put up 40 points themselves. So I don't think the Cardinals have to put in much effort to get towards that over. So that's a really tough one for me. I got to think about that. I can see it going both ways, and what might just happen here is no bet from my side on the over/under. The model taking San Francisco to win, as one would expect. 95.92% win probability, 7.415% edge at minus 770. So if we're not taking minus 250, we're not taking minus 770. This might just be a game to watch and enjoy. Make some DFS lineups around. Dallas at 10-3 taking on the 7-6 Bills. Bills are 2-point home favorites. That's absolutely absurd to me. I'm taking the Cowboys to win and cover. It's just so absurd to me. Over/under at 50. I'll take the under. So I'm putting in all bets here for all three bet types. The model, as expected, the model also has 88% win probability for the Cowboys and a 42.247% edge at plus 115 for the Cowboys. So the Bills being favored here is wild to me. I understand they're the home team. Weather storm may be coming in. We know how it gets in Buffalo. But my God, the Bills have just looked bad. Cool, they got a win against the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat themselves. I sure, give some credit to the Bills, but quite honestly, the Chiefs beat themselves. Bills lose to the Eagles. Cowboys beat the dirt out of the Eagles. So this feels weird. I'm all on the Cowboys side. I'm not a Cowboys fan at all. Living here in Texas, they're just annoying. Being a Steeler fan, they're more annoying. Bills just have not looked good. So I'm putting a lot of money here on the Cowboys this week. The Baltimore Ravens are 3-point away favorites, going to Jacksonville to take on the 8-5 Jags. Over/under set at 42.5. I can see this one getting slinged back and forth, much like it was last week with the Rams. So I think I lean towards that over 42.5 points. Baltimore win and cover is also an easy bet to me. I'll be taking those for sure. The model, 85% win probability for Baltimore, 22.838% edge at minus 165 for the Ravens. Cool. So I don't need to make any hedge bet. The model is with me. Taking the Ravens. Lawrence still recovering from his injury, it feels like. But important game for both teams here, as they're gearing towards the playoffs. And then Monday Night Football. Philadelphia Eagles travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Philly only favored by -3. I don't get that either. So easily taking Philly to win. Easily taking Philly to cover the -3. 47.5. That might be one I don't take because that's a pretty good line. I think I lean towards the under. No, I definitely lean towards the under. Okay, if I'm taking this, I'm taking the under. Piss off little DK. DK's also a little bitch, little baby. Like a lot of these big tough players got like exposed this week. DK's always had emotional issues, but go learn some sign language. Maybe that'll help you deal with it. But the model, wow, the fuck model, the model, 88% win probability for Seattle. Is it just because? It has to be just because the Eagles had 2 rough matchups against San Francisco, and then right after that, Dallas. So that's likely. Well, it's not likely. That is why the model is so against the Eagles here. It's not so much that Seattle, or it's for Seattle. It's against Philly. So keep that in mind here. And this is also the biggest edge of the week, 48.7% edge at plus 153 for the Seahawks. So that's where the model will be placing its bet. I'm complete opposite. Philly to win, Philly to cover, under 47.5. So me and the model going toe-to-toe here, head-to-head here. Model bailed me out last week with some of my poor betting. I'll fight the model this week. I don't care. It's not so stupid. It's just a fucking code. Anyways, that will do it for the week. Thank you for tuning in, listening, being patient with me. As I don't know if you can tell right now, I'm struggling to breathe through my nose. So appreciate, not that you had a choice, but appreciate you letting me have the time off to do a little bit of recovering. But we're back. We're here to make some money. Let's finish out the season strong, and we'll see you next week.